The riots and the attacks that have taken place over the last few weeks have exposed asylum seekers to levels of hostility that I think have not been seen hitherto. And these events are not isolated incidents, but are part of a worrying trend of rising far-right activities that have targeted some of the most vulnerable individuals in our society who've been left stranded in limbo because of the undignified policies of the last government's Home Office, run by Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, James Cleverly, and started by Theresa May's hostile environment. The riots and the attacks, such as those at the Suites Hotel in Knowsley on February the 10th, and more recently in Rotherham and Hull, they're not unprecedented. They're not peculiar simply to this change of government. These incidents have been fueled by misinformation, propagated by far-right groups like the Patriotic Alternative, Britain First. These groups use false narratives and xenophobic rhetoric to incite violence against asylum seekers. The false rumours about the origins of the suspect in the attack in Southport, for example. Asylum seekers already grappling with the trauma of fleeing their home countries now face this new threat in the form of violence and hostility. They're housed in hotels. The hotels are raking in money, like Clear Springs, the Clear Springs Ready Homes, and hotels which have sort of divided themselves up. So the back part of the hotel is full of migrants. The front part of the hotel is still charging an arm and a leg for a room. And migrants are being sort of treated appallingly. They are easy targets due to their visible presence and the perception of them being outsiders and being illegal, which many of them are not. Well, they are under the new legislation of Suella Braverman, of course, the Nationality and Borders Act, which should be repealed. The Illegal Immigration Act, which should be repealed, the Rwanda Act, which should be repealed. We can't just ignore these things. We have to get rid of the legislation that defines people as illegal. Under the 1951 Refugee Convention, if somebody comes to our country by whatever means and they claim asylum, they must then be processed. They are no longer illegal, even if they used an illegal route, even if they came here without proper paperwork. If they claim asylum, they should be processed. Once we've rejected them, if we reject them, then they become an illegal migrant. Then they are under an obligation to leave. And the emotional and the psychological impact of these attacks cannot be overstated. As one asylum seeker in a review done by The Guardian today from the Rotherham Hotel has stated, they experienced repeated racist abuse and lived in fear of leaving their accommodation. The incident where rioters breached the hotel's security caused extensive damage and threats. It underscores the severity of the situation. A refugee from Afghanistan in Hull described the terrifying experience of witnessing far-right rallies and the destruction of a mosque. The constant threat of violence has led to a pervasive sense of fear among asylum seekers, altering their daily lives, shattering any sense of security that they might have felt in a new country. And one individual poignantly expressed the fear of being targeted for appearing to be Muslim, a sentiment echoed by many others who feel that their lives are at a constant risk. Humanitarian organisations like Care for Calais might have condemned these attacks as part of a concerted effort by far-right groups to incite hatred and division. Steve Smith, the CEO of Care for Calais, has said that acts of violence, including deliberate arson with the intent to harm, go beyond mere vandalism. They are tantamount to attempted murder. And the organisation and many others continue to stand in solidarity with refugees, rejecting the far-right's attempts to spread fear and hatred. I think we need to recognise these far-right groups represent a small minority, but the effect they have is enormous. The compassionate response from many British people who continue to support and welcome asylum seekers contrasts sharply with the hate-fueled actions of these extremists. An asylum seeker from Afghanistan has highlighted this dichotomy, acknowledging the kindness of the broader British public, despite the actions of the few. This is a grave reflection of the challenges faced by those who are seeking refuge. I think The Guardian has done the right thing in printing a piece about this. The far right's tactics of spreading misinformation, inciting violence, are a blight on our society. But within this turmoil, there is hope in the form of the solidarity of human organisations, human response in the broader community. And the noise which is being made by the far right is not the noise of our society. It's the noise of a nasty, of a repugnant boil on the backside of Britain. Our collective responsibility remains to ensure that asylum seekers are protected and treated with dignity, respect, and processed. We need to counteract the narratives of hate with messages of compassion and understanding. We mustn't allow fear and division to dictate the treatment of those who come seeking safety, seeking a better life, looking to us for protection. Because in the end, that's what asylum means: protection, refuge, security.